be a pretty exciting matchup. We do see, I guess, neither team particularly strong in the early game. I was going to say Mono potentially, could come up and see if they could disrupt Maokai at all, but with the snare from Morgana and then the potential for, a quick level for the root, I guess that's not something they really want to be walking into. So we'll probably see defensive play here, just allow Jarvan to get an early advantage, and it does seem like he might be starting up with this blue buff and potentially get an early gank top lane. Mono's actually moving up here, though. I don't know if this is just to make sure they can secure the blue buff or if they're actually planning on invading.
No, they're planning on invading. They're definitely planning on invading. It's not super strong because they do have a weaker team comp at this point, but since they are grouped together and V8 is it, they do have an advantage if something does break out. But the CV is going to push them back out of the jungle, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, they are pinging, though, up at the red buff, so they might head up there. In the meantime, V8 is going to be doing some counter jungling of their own, going to come over and potentially steal these Wraiths. Janna doing the ward there so that they know that they're not going to be walking into, Mono at any point in time. And that early red buff top on Jarvan could be, really strong against Irelia if he could chunk her early and allow Rumble an early lane advantage. That would definitely help them out a lot.
So actually what V8 did was they counter jungled and did their own jungle at the same time. So they sent actually less people to do the counter jungling so they don't lose out on as much. However, Mono is able to pick up red, which is a lot more than just Wraith. They broke even in terms of the Wraith, but having that red buff is gonna allow J4 to just aggressively gank top right away.
Yeah, and he is coming up into this top lane with that red buff, level 2, so he will have the pop-up from his EQ combo. Not a lot of follow-up damage from Rumble, so it will probably be pretty difficult for them to pick up a kill, but actually he's going to just, walk away here. And Maokai going to come down into this bot jungle, expecting Jarvan's up there and see if he can maybe steal this red buff. I'm a little bit surprised. It seems kind of aggressive. I mean, I guess if you do expect that the jungler is sitting up in the top lane, it does give you that potential. But I would generally think that Jarvan would be fast enough to come down here, but he is actually going to get it in time and not really, face any danger there.
Oh, that's a free red. Ooh, bottom's gonna have a lot of pressure. I don't think there's a ward in that. Oh, there is.
So they do see Maokai backing up a little bit. But I guess we'll probably see, like you said, some more aggressive pushing play from Janna and Graves. Just keep Corki up against that tower. And top lane early on, Rumble and Irelia doing pretty good there. Irelia does have, a nice little bit of burst damage, as you can see. So I guess it'll be kind of interesting. At what point in time do you think Irelia is going to maybe start looking to be extremely aggressive against Rumble in this lane?
As soon as she gets a wit's end, she's going to be able to just walk all over Rumble. Just because the MR that she's going to get is just going to be so huge. Rumble's going to do so much less damage. She's going to have a lot of lifesteal for potentially getting her Wriggles, and she's going to have a lot of MR, and her W should have a lot of points in too. And so there's going to be a gank up top right here. And I think Rumble is in a kill potential range. So.
Yeah, and there's the twisted advance from Michelangelo, going to probably be able to pick up this Rumble kill. Let's see how much damage he can do to Irelia, though. He is going to go down, so there's the first blood. And all this CS that, Rumble's going to miss, and, Donatello here, I don't know which is which, who V8's top lane is, but, she will be at a significant early advantage there.
From my experiences, Tree Eskimo is usually top.
Oh, that's right, it is Tree Eskimo.
And then Takashi is a Morgana player, so.
But wow, a lot of burst damage from Aphromoo down here, going to be able to pick up the kill onto Corki.
Yeah, this is a really strong lane. The thing with.
Oh no, Rumble's going to get picked off again. We do have the jungler coming in. There's the twisted advance. He does have the slow, and there's no flash from Rumble anymore. He actually did. So he didn't use the flash that last gank, just recognizing he was going down really quickly.
Yeah, the thing with him using his flash is Irelia never used her dash, so she was able to just save it and wait for it. She was actually waiting for Rumble to flash so she can dash on him. And so he knew that she was also waiting, so he kind of assumed he was dead, so he just they don't want to burn it anyways, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm dead for sure this time. I'm going to save my center spell, and I'm going to get away the next gank.
But even so, that early pressure from Maokai, I'm kind of wondering, what Jarvan's going to do to counteract that. We don't see a ward from him. I was kind of expecting maybe, he'll go up top and try counter engaging with Maokai some of these times if Maokai's going to keep on pressuring that top lane.
Yeah, with the way the game's going, Jarvan is going to need to pressure all 3 lanes, and being one person, you're not going to be able to do that. It's just physically impossible. Just there's so much pressure mid, top, and bottom right now, because bot, for v8, is just naturally a stronger lane. And also, up top, Aurelia's already gotten a kill, so she's ahead of Rumble. And at the same time, when he did want to gank top, Aurelia was staying way, way in the back, where it was impossible for J4 to gank. That's why he stood there for 15 seconds, and then he just left and continued jungling. And so, at this point, if bottom is pushing all the time, and mid is continually pushing, J4 is going to be needed mid and bot. And now, Aurelia is winning against Rumble as well, so he's going to be at a loss for who to gank, because there's going to be pressure everywhere.
Yeah, and we do see Morgana also taking the wraiths from both sides. That is one of her strengths, that AoE clearing, does help her out some with counter jungling. But Jarvan coming down into this bottom lane, I'm not sure how much kill potential they have. I mean, they've got, plenty of damage, but against the defensive, play that Janna has, I would assume it'd be pretty difficult for him to get an engage here. Do you think it's just kind of, I don't know, a waste of his time here, and maybe pressure some
I
of the
feel
other
like
lanes?
Graves already has an inkling that he's back there. That's why he's playing so passive. So I feel like it's just gonna waste Jarvan's time. Right now, you can probably hear v8 saying, if you're in their vet, "Oh, J4 is there. Just let them waste their time," because he's not farming right now. And I think Janna just peeked in there and saw him too. So, and so basically, what J4 is. Oh, did he DC?
I don't know. So we'll have a short perfect. Yeah, we have the touchdown celebration from Alex here, but Jarvan is going to back off, and Morgana potentially going to grab this blue. Not sure whether or not Maokai will pass it off. I would assume he would. But wow, aggressive play by Janna, going to get off some damage onto Corki. Heal will help sustain him some. What do you expect that, what we'll kind of see? We had talked about it for, I guess, a while, I guess. But what do you expect to see from both teams, coming up, and how they want to kind of progress the game? Oh, wow, Corki just going down with the great burst that Janna and Graves have.
Thing is, he's died once already, so one, he's going to be behind in level. When you're behind in level, you have less HP, because you get about 100 per level. And two, the enemy is also higher level than you. That means you have less HP and they're doing more damage. Especially Graves when he hits level 6. Not only is he getting the scaling damage, but he's also got another nuke. So that adds a lot more damage burst that he's going to have.
And with how aggressive they've been being in this bottom lane, that pink ward from Janna, will allow Maokai to potentially get in some ganks. Jarvan coming up here sees that his red is not clearing, so he's expecting, I'm assuming, that they had pulled it. They're actually going to back off for a second here, but Maokai's here, so they should be able to finish that. But do you expect that, we might see some more aggressive ganks from Maokai down bottom, along with the kill potential that Graves has?
Oh yeah, of course. There's going to be ganks all over the place for Maokai now, just because everybody on mono is slightly behind, and so when people are behind, junglers can gank better, and when junglers are ahead, they also gank better. So, he's already secured a kill earlier, getting some extra gold. So here's Rise top now. So
yeah, and he's going to be chasing down Aurelia there. There's the slow, and then the flash in from Rise. They're going to get up a ton of burst damage there. She will flash over, but she has the ignite. She should be able to get out of there, though. We won't have them coming in, but we actually have Morgana and Maokai here coming in, trying to get a little bit of a counter gank if Rise comes down into this, river area, but he's not going to. I'm a little bit surprised that Maokai held on to the red buff as opposed to giving it to Graves. Do you think that, that's just to go along with, because they're ahead, want to have those aggressive ganks?
No, it was nothing like that. It was just that J4 was in that brush and he was waiting to smite red. Yeah. And so, do I want to wait until it's 100 hit point for Graves to nuke it down, which J4 can potentially smite and steal anyways, or should I just take it and guarantee that he can't take it?
And we do have Morgana coming down, and they don't have any vision, so She does have Flash, I believe. Yes, she does. So she will be able to get an ultimate most likely. Here she's coming, and they're actually both going to get caught here. There's the whirlwind, the ultimate bursting down Soraka almost immediately, and then the snare is going to be able to pick up Morgana.
I feel like that Graves Flash was unnecessary. But it was a good measure in case Morgana missed her binding. But this is actually a free dragon for V8 right now. Despite how slow they are at doing dragon, if there's nobody to contest it, it's a free dragon.
And we do have Maokai coming up and then stealing the blue buff, and Jarvan is going down quickly. Rise is there to back him up, but now he's in danger. We will have them chasing, but there's no mana on Maokai currently, so they are going to back off. And we do have the dragon going down for V8 in a second here, which will continue their early game lead. If you were Mono at this point, what are you kind of looking to do to try and turn the tides? I understand you want to farm a lot. Ward control would be good.
Mm-hmm.
What are your goals right now?
They just need aggressive ganking now, right? They need to be able to pick people off and take towers. If they're not going to be able to do that, then they're not going to be able to close the gold gap, and V8's is going to keep on extending that gold advantage because. In terms of pushing lane, Morg is just so much better. It's going to keep Rise at tower, and so Rise is going to lose some CS periodically. And now Aurelia is going to be tanky enough where Rumble can't kill her anymore. And she's got red buff as well. That means that Rumble's not going to be able to get away. And she's got Wit's End too. So I feel like at this point, if Rumble overextends just a little bit, Aurelia is going to be able to just solo kill him over and over.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of wards from either team. I was actually kind of wondering whether or not we might expect to see an Oracles from Maokai, since they do have pretty good map control right now, to just kind of continue laying on the pressure. Is that something? Oh, we do have an Oracles, so there you go. I was about to say, is that something that you would kind of expect to see from V8 at this point?
The thing with Oracles is if you're winning already, you get an Oracles, you can clear all the wards, put a lot more pressure on them. And that's exactly what V8's doing. They're putting more pressure and opening up a lot more gank potential with that Oracles. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get an Oracles and potentially die. You might still have to get it anyways when you're behind, just because you need to be able to clear wards and make big moves. But at this point, I just feel it's way too safe for V8,
and the snare, and then the Morgana ultimate, followed up by the twisted advance from Maokai. And we will have Rise going down shortly. He's actually going to be able to get the... Nope. He's going to go down. He did have his flash. I was a little bit surprised he didn't just hop over this wall here once he got to that point. But I guess he was concerned that, he would just waste it and they would flash after him anyway. But an early tower for Graves and Janna down here will, continue that kind of aggressive map control.
He could have potentially gotten away, Rise. The thing with Maokai is he didn't want to get the kill, so he actually stopped DPSing on Rise. And so... I feel like it would just be worth it for Maokai to just finish him off and not even risk someone getting away. But I guess it worked out in the end anyways.
And then the blue buff shared onto Morgana. She's, they already have that kind of lead. Will allow her to continue counter jungling. They have been kind of like warding down at these wraiths all day and stealing those wraiths to slow down Jarvan a little bit. And he's actually... even with Maokai, but Maokai's definitely been able to be a lot more aggressive, and Irelia with that red buff is chasing down Rumble. He is going to slow her and try and get away, but another Equilibrium Strike will be able to do it. She actually flashes after him and is throwing the Transcendent Blades, able to pick up the kill, and going to back off there.
Yeah, so at this point, Aurelia is just going to be able to constantly chase Rumble. Once she gets that Merc Treads, it's over for Rumble. He can't even get away, because with Aurelia's passive and with Merc Treads, his little missile thingy that slows people isn't going to do enough where you can close or extend the distance far enough where Aurelia can't dash back on you when the cooldown comes up.
And V8 coming down here, we actually do have a snare going off, not going to be able to hit Rise, but trying to be really aggressive once again, counter jungling here. Dragon shouldn't be up for another 2 minutes, so there's no potential there, but the early towers and top, also pretty close to going down. Will definitely allow them to kind of roam around and start taking control of Mono's jungle, which is kind of what we're seeing.
So just at this point, V8's just so far ahead. What they want to do is they just want to continue to take every single tower that's on the outside. I think they got 2 of them. There's just 1 left, so it's probably going to drop pretty soon. Maokai might just... If Maokai can get a good gank off and get 1 or 2 people... they're going to be in position to do Baron in like 3 minutes or so, just because they are so far ahead that they've gotten enough damage this early on to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like an 18, 19-minute Baron.
Which is kind of surprising, I mean, because they, don't really have a team that I would normally say is a strong early Baron team. But like you said, with the early advantage, do you think that it'd be more worth it to pressure those kind of objectives since they want to force fights? Or is that just kind of too risky, that if it allows Mono an opportunity to kind of throw down all of their AoE with Jarvan and with Rumble and potentially get back into the game?
I feel like what's going to happen is v8's going to play a little bit safe after they take top tower. What they want to do is they want to get the second dragon and potentially force a fight there. It's a lot safer to force a dragon fight than it is a Baron fight at this point. Because if you lose too much HP doing Baron, you might throw the game. So it's a lot safer to just, play a little bit safer and go for the dragon, force that fight instead.
And we do have this engage here. Maokai is going to come in, and he's getting a little bit of damage from Ryze, but Jarvan should be able to go down. Flash is out, so they are going to back off. Morgana's ultimate is down, and Rumble's pretty low here. Irelia, so they are,
Probably gets this blue buff.
And they are kind of, poking back and forth here, trying to see if they can get an engage. Maokai with the Twisted Advance onto Ryze, and he is probably going to go down, missing the flash, trying to get over the wall, so he's going to go down. And now Corki's definitely in a bad position, gets snared, and that's another 2 kills. See, that's the thing. It's so early in the game that it feels like there's, they should be taking a Baron here. It's 5v3, but it's only 16 minutes in. So even with this huge advantage,
I guess they're in no rush. They can just take tower. It's still relatively dangerous because the death timer is so short. You kill somebody, you have an expectation they're not going to be back for 30 seconds. But, Mono's already back within 2 seconds, 2 more seconds.
But after taking that tower, they will be able to come down and take this dragon. Already a 9k gold advantage. They'll bump it up to 10k, and Irelia going to come up and continue farming. No big deal. She's got her teleport.
Yeah, she's gonna be able to get a lot of gold from top right now. She's probably just gonna ult that, kill it. Try to push tower ASAP. Go back and buy. Then they can start forcing Baron, because I feel like that last team fight with Dragon and that huge wave and tower added together, Irelia is going to be really, really, really big, and I really don't see an answer to Irelia from Mono at this point. She's gotten to the point where she can just run in the middle of everybody and lifesteal all her health back and just have her team decimate everybody.
And because of how successful Irelia has been, and Morg as well, they both are going to be extremely tanky. We do have the Rod of Aegis on Morg. So with all of that gold, she's actually, probably going to be building towards, Rabadons or Azonias as well. They will be able to kind of sustain through the AoE damage that Mono offers, and potentially kind of bully them out of these fights that Mono might otherwise maybe be able to sneak out a couple of kills.
Yeah. I feel like this v8's just too far ahead. It's just, if they're gonna lose this game, they're gonna have to throw really hard. And v8 is a good enough team to not throw an advantage this big.
But I get, again, it's just really impressive play by v8. They started off with an early advantage. Great pressure by Maokai is, primarily where it came in. And I don't know, just able to kind of snowball this game very early. They are pinging Dragon. They do have the Oracles, so they can clear the wards and then, potentially get Mono out of position, have like a sneak attack in one of those brush. But the Clairvoyance should help them avoid those kind of situations. Mono pushing this tower, is this, just what they kind of need to do at this point? They need to force a really hard engage and just see what they can do as a team, or? They're
not really trying to force an engage. What they're hoping for is for Mono to be out of position so they can give that tower and close that gold gap, because if they don't make plays right now, they're just going to fall further and further behind it. They're hoping to get a free tower, rotate, get another free tower.
We do have the Shirelias from Maokai. There's the Twisted Advance onto Jarvan, and then the Snare, so he's going to go down. The Flash and Ultimate from Morgana, chasing after the rest of the team. Corki flashes out of there, but Rumble's going to go down, as well as Soraka, and that's a huge advantage, once again, for v8, and this could be a Baron with that 5v2 advantage, so they are going to head up there, and I don't know, just basically end the game pretty shortly.
I'm a little off. I said 19 minutes. It's 1950.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess coming into game number 2, assuming that V8, is able to keep with this lead, which I would assume would be the case, what do you kind of expect to see from Mono differently? Because it's kind of surprising to me that Jarvan, wasn't really able to get involved with the game. He did have some DC issues. But actually, the snare is almost going to pick up Rise. He's going to flash away. But what would you expect to see differently coming into game number 2?
Differently, I just felt like Mono got outpicked. V8 knew exactly what they're going to go for, and they just counterpicked it, right? And I felt like V8 had the right comp, and since Mono kind of doesn't really have a strong team comp overall, they're just not going to perform well. And it's when you know what the enemy is going to do, and they kind of play around in the same vicinity of team comps that they have been, it's very, very easy to develop a single strat to just counter everything.
So we do have V8 kind of split pushing here. Aurelia does have that teleport, so she's going to be able to take down some things. And Morgana coming in with the ultimate. The twisted advance from Maokai will be able to pick up that Corki kill, actually just barely surviving. And Jarvan jumping onto Raphael here. He's going to go down really quickly, so they are able to grab the Janna. Graves will pick up the Jarvan kill.
That was just very, very...
yeah, last-ditch effort.
No, it's more of V8 messing up because they were too confident.
Yeah.
They felt like, oh, we're going to win anyways. It's just... let's get really aggressive and just dive this, and they shouldn't have done that, but it's going to work out anyways just because the advantage is too big at this point.
So able to pick up the kill on Soraka there and then push down this tower. Inhibitor should be falling shortly. They are going to back out in the meantime because they're all kind of low on mana as well in Graves. But this next push, will almost certainly grab that inhibitor. Irelia coming up here, trying to see if she can get an engage on anyone. Are there any champions that you might expect V8 or Mono to ban differently, or maybe leave open some of those tanky bruisers and see if they could maybe try running one of those kind of comps?
Just trying to get into Mono's mind right now. I feel like they're thinking, damn them, they took my Janna Graves, so they're gonna try and pick that up a lot earlier, or just pick up Graves at least a lot earlier. I could potentially see that happening next game.
Well, they did seem to do pretty well bottom lane. Graves definitely had the advantage in that lane, but V8 did very well. I mean,
yeah, of course.
So if they could pick up that lane back from V8, not have that kind of killing potential, we have seen V8 run a lot of Graves recently as well. That could help Mono a lot. But I guess, I don't know, the big concern is they lost all the lanes, and then the pressure from Maokai. So. Do you think that, there's just too many aggressive junglers, you can't really ban the junglers, or?
It was even the jungler to be, well, the jungler did make it a difference. It wasn't the jungle that won the game this game. I felt like all 3 lanes are capable of just winning their lane and pushing continually. And so, except for top in the early game, so J4 was actually pressured to gank top. Or if you're going to gank, he has to gank top, but he was pressured by mid and bottom to go gank because the lanes are so pushed. So it created some safety for Aurelia up top as well.
Yeah, and I think this is basically GG. V8 coming in and going to be taking these Nexus turrets. The ultimate from Rumble does go off, but not really going to do anything. So congratulations to V8 taking game 1 of this best of 3. Really impressive play early on. Is there any kind of thing that you kind of took from it as far as V8's play style that you're like, oh, well, this is maybe something that we as a team will try and do differently against them in the future?
Oh, this is a type of team comp that I've seen V8 ran before. So I wasn't surprised when I thought that they're going to pick up an AoE team comp to counter what Mono was going to do, because they already had this type of team comp in their arsenal. So it's very easy to just pick it right back up and use it against Mono. So it's not like a new team comp to V8. They've been using this and practicing it in their scrim.
Right.
What they did was they took away what Mono is strong with